In Hattiesburg, Mississippi, the path back to normal has been slow, costly, and sad. The storms that hit here on January 21st, 2017 left a lasting mark. Right here, there were 2 dorms, right?
Yes.
What was here?
Ross Hall was right here, which was my dorm, and then Johnson Hall was right here, which was like the art students' dorms.
At William Carey University, the center of campus is still a shambles. What do you think as you look at this scene here?
I think about how I miss my old building and how things used to be.
That's Savannah Richardson, a freshman from Houston, still rattled by what happened.
It was a very normal day. I got up and I went to class.
In the afternoon, she went to basketball practice. Savannah is a standout player for the Crusaders. In the evening, she hung out with her boyfriend, Ed. Like she said, a normal day.
It was kind of raining and thundering and lightning a little bit when we were out. When we got back, it kind of stayed the same, didn't really change. You know, I was used to that, you know, rain, it didn't bother me.
In fact, weather fascinates her.
It's coming! It's headed right for us!
Her favorite thing to watch when she was a kid? The 1996 movie, Twister.
Cow.
She and her mom watched it over and over again. How was reality compared to the movie?
Nothing like I thought it was going to be.
On Savannah's fateful night, reality was shaping up like this, an epic storm system. Leslie Hudson is the digital meteorologist for MyRadar.
Here's our parcel of the most dangerous weather right here. Where the cold and the warm collide is where we see the biggest outbreak of severe weather. We saw several tornadoes in Mississippi, several in Alabama, and about 60 tornadoes through parts of Florida and Georgia, making this one of the worst outbreaks ever.
And then there's
That's the picture.
When the wall of storms arrived in Hattiesburg, Savannah and her boyfriend were in their respective dorms on the phone.
And then all of a sudden we hear the sirens. And then my appliances started going on and off until finally they just all stayed off. And I was like, Ed, what do you think I should do? And he said, I think you need to go downstairs because they're telling us it's possible a tornado could come.
When Savannah got downstairs, none of her teammates were there. So she went back up and started banging on doors.
I didn't have time to be scared at that point.
After she was sure all her teammates were safe, she went to her room to get a blanket.
That's when things started to shake and I could just hear the sound of like a train sitting on top of me. I slammed my door and at that point things from the ceiling started falling. The building was shaking. You could hear the metal and the bricks being ripped from the building. The only thing that I could think of was run, go downstairs, run. As I'm running across the hallway, a ceiling light fell, and it cut my knee, actually. But I didn't feel it at the time, because that's the adrenaline that had kicked in. I'm actually in the stairwell when the tornado actually hit. The ceiling was completely ripped off in the stairwell.
It was an EF3 tornado, meaning winds were somewhere between 136 and 165 miles an hour. As these photos of her room and hallway show, Savannah was lucky to survive. 4 others died that night in Hattiesburg.
It happened in the overnight. People were not ready for this storm. It was on the ground for 30 miles, and it was a half a mile in diameter. So it was a really large, dangerous, what we call a wedge tornado.
A wedge tornado is as wide as it is tall. They can create a swath of destruction a mile wide or more. A strong storm at an unusual time of year. Could this be one more sign climate change is already changing the weather? Radley Horton is a climate scientist at Columbia University's Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory.
You did have unusually warm temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico and really unusually warm temperatures leading up to that event. We have more confidence that the upper ocean is going to warm and that there'll be more warm, moist air near the surface. On the other hand, we may see less cold air aloft, which would tend to make tornadoes weaker, all things considered.
Savannah and her teammates had lots to consider as they huddled in the dark, wondering if more twisters were on the way.
With every lightning flash, you just see, like, oh my gosh, the door is ripped off its hinges, and wow, there's electrical wires and stuff hanging from the ceiling right now with water rushing in on the other side of the hallway.
One of her friends got a first aid kit and bandaged Savannah's knee. It was a deep cut that eventually required 15 stitches.
At that point, I had called my mom.
Her mom, Shannon Forrest, is a registered nurse and a manager at a Houston hospital, so late-night calls are part of her routine.
When I answered the phone, I was like prepared to hear that there was a problem at the hospital, and I immediately heard her screaming, "Mom, I've been in a tornado and I'm hurt, I have to go to the hospital." So this is her at the hospital.
It was about 11 in the morning when Savannah's mom arrived at the emergency room after a 6.5-hour drive.
And she just comes in and she said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," and then just starts crying.
I'll never forget that feeling of just relief, of touching her, holding her, seeing her, and knowing that, yeah, she's okay.
I just started crying too, and we just kind of sit there and hold each other for a minute. And, and I'm just like, I'm okay, I'm really okay.
For both of these women, these twister-loving weather geeks, the Hattiesburg tornado has been a game changer.
I felt pretty fearless when it came to storms, like, okay, it'll pass over. I'm much more hesitant now.
Now, whenever real bad thunderstorms come through, I'm kind of nervous. Like I'll get kind of, freaked out a little bit by the storm, and I'm just like, what if another tornado comes?
All things considered, it could have been worse for William Carey University. They lost 6 buildings in all.
At first, when they were completely demolishing the buildings, it was just hard to see. They put it on Facebook and they were like, share your memories that you had in your dorm. So I just put, rest in peace, dorm 210.
At least it's just for the building, not the occupants. For MyRadar, I'm Miles O'Brien in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.